Hey guys, REDyTay here with another Pokemon challenge. Trying to beat Pokemon Ruby with just a Spoink quickly became a challenge solely due to lackluster stats and a lopsided moveset. Where Spoink shined was as a special attacker. And in this challenge, we're going to move the needle in the complete opposite direction. We're going to try to beat Pokemon Gold with a single Heracross. The reason I say this is the exact opposite of the Spoink run is because Heracross is all about the physical stats. Actually, I'm a little wrong in saying that. Yes, physical attack is its best stat, but its special defense is actually better than its physical defense. And that might actually be a good thing as the challenge progresses. The rest of the stats that we care about aren't bad either. I mean, a base stat total of 500 means we're working with way more than we normally do in these challenges. The special attack is no bueno, but we're not sweating that since this moveset is 100% physical. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of some of these moves, since a few involve us taking damage in return, but they can still be solid options. Also, Mega Horn will be useful in parts. The team selection isn't as varied as we've seen in the past, but again, there are some options we can work with here. Nothing too flashy, but they're still dependable. Another thing that's dependable is our typing. We really only have 3 weaknesses, which is great. Fire isn't too prevalent in this generation. Psychic can be scary, but since we are also part bug, we at least have an answer there. It's just still a shame that bug type doesn't resist psychic moves. So really the only type we really need to worry about is flying, which just so happens to be the first gym in this game. I was starting to wonder if I was wrong thinking this would be a challenge, but the beginning might take us a while to get past. Also, look at our resistances. They're a bit of a random mix, but I think they'll come in handy too. But we have to get going to see if that's true, so let's get started. But first, the rules. I can only use Heracross throughout the entire challenge, however I can use extra Pokemon for HM purposes so we can still get around. No glitches or hacks can be used to advance, and I'm following the trend where we won't be using any items in battle, only held items given to Heracross before the battle starts. Let's get started. By now, most of us know the drill for the beginning of these challenges. We leave home, go to Professor Elm's lab, and get our starter Pokemon. I used the Pokemon randomizer to replace Chikorita with Heracross. Well, that was a plan. For some reason I messed up the game file because it originally had Heracross replacing Cyndaquil, and I thought that was weird, but I kept playing until I recorded our starting stats and saw that this Heracross was part Dragon and Ground type. Sure, that might be an interesting challenge, but we wouldn't be staying true to the game with that format. So I refired up the randomizer and resaved a new game file. This time everything was programmed according to plan. I named our Heracross Herbie because there's no reason to be cross when you're the love bug. Stat wise, everything is looking about the same, except special attack is the only stat in the single digits, so that trend is holding true. We're starting with Tackle and Leer, which is a very common moveset, and honestly, I'm just happy we have an attacking move right out of the gate. Yeah, I'm looking to use Spoink with your splash only moveset at the start. All that being said, we don't level up much before we reach our first battle with the rival. But even with just one level, we get a new move, and Horn Attack is a really solid addition this early in the game. The rival battle is pretty uneventful, 2 Horn Attacks, and we win the fight without taking any damage. But even with this new move, we still aren't ready to take on Faulkner. Flying types are the biggest threat to Heracross, and this game just so happens to throw that type at us right from the start. Thankfully, it also throws us a bone in the form of Bellsprout Tower, and that's a blessing for this run. Bellsprout can't really do anything to Herbie, and honestly, Horn Attack is starting to feel like a cheat code with how hard it's hitting at this point in the game. It's not even super effective against anyone we're fighting, and yet it's demolishing everything. It might also help that our regular attack stat is our best stat, but still. We clear through Bellsprout Tower, and since we don't really have anywhere else to go, we might as well see how we do against Faulkner before resorting to grinding against wild Pokemon. Actually, we handled the battle really well, and it's all because we're hitting so hard with Horn Attack. We almost one-shot Pidgey with that move, and since we only get hit by Tackle, we're still in good shape when Pidgeotto comes out. Horn Attack is still the move of choice, but this part of the battle is scarier since Pidgeotto is stronger than Pidgey and actually uses a flying move, Gust, against us. But Herbie survives it, and another Horn Attack is too much for Pidgeotto, so we get the win shortly after. So the big scary start of the challenge really wasn't that bad. Now, going through Unicave could have been annoying since we have to deal with Onix and Judo from the Hikers, and wouldn't you know it, Herbie can't learn Mud Slap. I was expecting these battles to be long and tedious, almost to the point where we could actually lose a fight if we weren't careful, but at the risk of sounding like a broken record, these battles aren't that bad, and it's because of, well, you guessed it, Horn Attack. Well, that move and Leer, since it added just a little extra oomph to get the job done. But yeah, we're not in any real danger in these battles. We get through the cave and the portion of Slowpoke Well where we have to fight Team Rocket pretty easily, and that means we gotta face Bugsy. Which I wasn't worried about at all, and I was right to think that. Metapod and Kakuna are no threat in this battle. I guess Kakuna could poison us with Poison Sting, and we could lose eventually because of that, but that didn't happen. So really this fight all came down to how we handled Scyther. Its Fury Cutter at the start is very weak thanks to our typing, but Horn Attack continues to do what it does best. One of our hits even lands as a critical hit, doing major damage. Scyther follows up with a quick attack, but we close out the battle with a tackle for the win. Which means we now have another rival battle to deal with. Beating Bugsy couldn't have come at a better time because this rival battle could have been a major roadblock thanks to his newly added Ghastly. Up to this point in the challenge, our entire moveset has been normal type, which means we can't lay a scratch on Ghastly. But with Bugsy defeated, we now have the team for Fury Cutter. It's a bug type move, so at least it can hit Ghastly. The only issue is that Ghastly resists it, so it's going to take several turns before we see any meaningful damage. Still, dealing some damage is better than dealing no damage. That being said, yeah, Fury Cutter is doing horrible here at the start. And to make matters worse, Ghastly's first lick paralyzes us. Fury Cutter gets stronger with each consecutive hit, so this paralysis might ruin our whole plan before it even gets going. Luckily, our second Fury Cutter lands, and the damage is noticeably better. Plus, Lick is doing very little to us, which is nice. The third Fury Cutter hits and gets Ghastly into yellow health, but of course, our luck can only last so long. Paralysis stalls the fourth hit, breaking the streak. We're forced to start the chain over, and this next streak only lasts 2 turns before paralysis kicks in again. On the second go though, we finally knock out Ghastly, but we're below half health now, so things are looking dicey, especially now that Quilava's out, and it opens with Smokescreen. Great, lowered accuracy. Horn Attack still lands and brings Quilava down to the same HP range we're in. I expect Quilava to attack next, but instead it uses Leer. We waste our next turn with the Horn Attack missing, so who am I to judge? We did get hit by an Ember, but we tanked it better than I expected. Our next Horn Attack lands, and that's it for Quilava. Now it's just Zubat left, and the win is still within reach. Oh yeah, it's definitely in reach. Zubat's bite barely does anything, and Horn Attack lands cleanly, one-shotting it. Scariest battle we've had so far, but we pulled through. With that done, we can now move through Ilex Forest. And there's not much to report here besides picking up the team for Headbutt, which could be useful later. There's not a lot going on in Goldenrod either, aside from seeing if we can beat Whitney at our current level. Horn Attack makes for a great opener against Clefairy, and we take our double slaps just fine. We could have taken Clefairy out with another Horn Attack, but I switch it up and go for Fury Cutter instead. It falls short, but Clefairy's Metronome only pulls a weak Mega Punch, so we're safe. The next Fury Cutter obviously finishes off Clefairy and leaves us in a good spot for Miltank. Now, Miltank Stomp could be scary, especially since it could cause a flinch, but we land another Fury Cutter. The Miltank switches tactics and starts building up Rollout, but by that point it's a little too late. One more Fury Cutter from us seals the win. Wow, I'm loving the progress we've made so far in this challenge. Yeah, previous rival battle was a bit of a close call, but we've been hitting hard and that's allowed us to progress quickly through the game. Morty is next up in the badge run, and this one could be problematic. It's basically the Ghastly portion of the rival battle on steroids. We've leveled up a bit, but we still only have Fury Cutter as our usable move in this battle. Battling the gym trainers goes fine, but it's close every time. In each attempt we get hit by Curse, which means we finish each battle in low health. What helps is that although Fury Cutter has a slow start, once it picks up steam, we're able to sweep our opponents. It might be a stretch, but I was hoping that we could do the same to Morty. No. That was not enough to defeat Morty. Fury Cutter starts off too weak, we get hit by Curse, paralyzed by Lick, and we just can't operate fast enough or keep a streak going long enough to mow down Morty's team before we run out of health. So, what can we do? Grinding seems like our best option. The problem is we only have Fury Cutter as an offensive move in this battle. It's so weak at the start. We need to level up a ton before we see any noticeable jump in damage. After a few failed attempts ending in losses to Morty, I called it a day and decided to start grinding tomorrow. The next day, I fired up the game and figured I'd give the Morty battle one more shot before I started grinding. Nothing magically changed overnight. It still takes 4 Fury Cutters to knock out Ghastly. But this time Ghastly doesn't paralyze us with Lick, and even better, it doesn't use Curse at all. The Fury Cutter streak stays alive when Haunter comes out, and the streak is now so strong we actually one-shot it. Next is Gengar, and I'm so thankful the streak is still going. I wasn't expecting a one-shot here, but getting it into yellow health is more than fine. As long as it doesn't put us to sleep and heal with Dream Eater, we should be okay. And we are. Hypnosis misses again, and Fury Cutter lands. Bye bye Gengar. Just one more Haunter to go. Fury Cutter is still active. So yeah, it's an easy one-shot, and you do not need to tell me how much luck went into that battle. No Curse, no paralysis from Lick, and Fury Cutter never missed or got interrupted. The game threw us a major bone there. And all this allows us to actually progress today instead of wasting time grinding to some ridiculous level to actually beat Morty more confidently. But yeah, we're moving on. First up is Chuck, one of the remaining gym options. He feels like the easiest choice, and it makes the most sense plot-wise. Before facing him, I taught Herbie Strength. It's a solid normal move, and with our strong attack stat, it should hit hard. And yeah, it does hit hard. One-shots Primeape, Strength takes Poliwrath down to below half health. It wastes a turn using Mind Reader, and a second Strength seals the win. Super short fight, and honestly, I think I gave this one too much commentary. Classic Chuck battle. Nothing wild, but beating him means it's time to focus on Jasmine, and we all know this gym is a common roadblock in my challenge runs. Thankfully, we've got counter now, and that just might carry us through. 2 strengths take out Magnemite, and we avoid paralysis, so far, so good. Jasmine sends out Steelix next. We switch to using counting here, and yikes, Iron Tail is doing way more than I expected, but that just means counter is going to hit harder in return. It does a really solid job dealing damage, but Steelix hangs on with just a sliver of health. Naturally, Jasmine uses a Hyper Potion on the next turn, but this might still be okay. We go for Strength to chip away at Steelix. It doesn't look like much, but combined with another counter, it might be enough to finish the job. The catch is that we have to take another Iron Tail, which drops us to healthy range to something much more concerning. Even worse, Steelix is still standing after that counter. Frustrating, sure, but we're faster, so we get off one more strength to finally take it out. At this point, things are looking hopeful. Until Jasmine's Magnemite completely catches me off guard with Thunderbolt and actually takes us out. That battle somehow went both better and worse than I expected, if that makes any sense. Still, I think we've got this. Second attempt, same approach, we use Strength on the first Magnemite, and once again we get lucky, Thunder Wave missed. So the first Magnemite goes down just like before, and we're back to dealing with Steelix. And again, this part plays out almost exactly the same. We take an Iron Tail, hit back with counter, Jasmine heals, we chip with Strength, take another Iron Tail, and land another counter. Steelix hangs on, but with even less health than last time. One more Strength knocks it out. At this point I'm thinking, okay, this is identical to last time, so we're doomed again with the second Magnemite showing up, right? Well, not quite. Apparently the same luck that bailed us out in the Morty fight is still floating around because our opening Strength against Magnemite lands as a critical hit one-shot. So yeah, we won. And yes, luck was definitely involved in that battle again. But I'll take it, because if we hadn't won here, we probably would have needed to grind a few more levels to secure a reliable victory. Jasmine was still a tough fight, but nowhere near the nightmare she's been in some of my other runs. Honestly, we probably could have done the Lake of Rage and the Team Rocket hideout segment before this, and that might have made the whole Jasmine fight even easier. The whole portion was super easy anyway, so we head straight into the battle with Price. Strength one-shot Seal right out of the gate. It also does a ton of damage to Dugong, leaving it in the red. Roar Beam doesn't do much to us, so another Strength easily finishes it off. That just leaves Piloswine. It takes Strength better than the other two, but it only fights back with Fury Attack, which is laughably weak at this point. Price does heal Piloswine once to try to drag the fight out, but the damage from Strength is just too much. He never gets close to mounting a comeback, and we wrap up the battle without any issues. It's nice to finally have a battle we can wrap up without relying on luck to give us that final push. Honestly, Heracross is pulling some serious weight in this challenge and is holding up really well compared to a lot of my other Gen 2 runs. We could go straight into wrapping up the badge run, but unfortunately we have to deal with Team Rocket again, which just means we've got another rival battle coming up. I was genuinely surprised when Golbat survived Strength. That opens the door for a Confuse Ray, and sure enough, we hit ourselves on the next turn. To make matters worse, Golbat follows up with Wing Attack, which hits hard. but the tide turns quickly. We snap out of confusion right after, meaning we were only confused for one turn. That lets us cleanly take out Golbat with Cut, which I just recently taught Herbie. I probably should have mentioned that. Still, that rough start puts us in a tight spot already, but things don't get easier with Quilava coming out next. Luckily, Strength lands and it's a clean one-shot. Phew. That's a major threat taken care of, but we still can't relax because Haunter is next. We're still using Fury Cutter against it, which means we're vulnerable to taking hits while we try to build up its power. Shadow Ball thankfully doesn't hit too hard, and we catch a break when our rival wastes a turn using Mean Look. Another Shadow Ball brings us down to 32 health, but Fury Cutter finally reaches enough power to finish off Haunter. Which means no curse, thankfully. If that had landed, this battle would have been over right there. Magnemite is up next, and it's starting to feel like this is slipping away. It hits us with a Sonic Boom, dropping our HP even more. We managed to take it out with 2 strengths, but now we're sitting at just 12 health. All that is left is Sneasel. Not exactly the most threatening Pokemon offensively, but I was still sweating over a potential quick attack. And yep, it uses it. And we actually survived with just 4 health. We desperately need a one-shot here. Thankfully, Sneasel's physical defense is garbage, and strength comes in clutch once again, wrapping up this tight battle on the final turn. You know, I never really thought about it before, but our rival's team is kind of a nightmare matchup for Heracross. Golbat and Quilava both have super effective coverage, Haunter and Magnemite can stall or chip us down if the battle drags on. Sneasel's more of a speed bump, but still a threat when we're running on fumes. Anyway, onward to Claire, and the final Johto Gym Badge. I'm not sure what to expect, but let's just jump in and hope brute physical strength is enough for the win. We lead with strength, and wow, it actually lands as a critical hit one-shot on the first Dragonair. Then it also one-shots the second Dragonair, without a crit, which means yes, we can actually one-shot all 3 Dragonairs using strength. Kingdra is all that remains. Strength isn't enough to take it down in one hit, but it does chuck off half of its health. We take a Dragon Breath like a champ, and for some reason Claire doesn't bother healing. So with one final strength, we pick up another Gym Badge. This one was actually surprisingly easy. So is it just me, or is Heracross on a tear in this challenge? I'm not one to time my challenges, but it would be interesting to see how Heracross is doing compared to the other Generation 2 runs. But does all this success against the majority of the gym leaders equate to an easy run through the Elite Four? Well, right now it feels like it's hard to gauge. We reached level 50 in Kanto, yeah, that's just how well Herbie is doing, and we never really had to grind for any of these major battles, so by the time we reach level 50, we've already received all 8 Johto badges, and making our way to Victory Road. Real quick, I did replace Counter with Reversal, but I haven't used it yet. But the big thing I wanted to show is that all of our stats are already in the triple digits, except for Special Attack, which we just don't care about. Yeah, this might not be as much of a challenge as I thought. Okay, let's not get too cocky, because it actually took us 3 tries to beat our rival at Victory Road. I'm actually kind of embarrassed to admit that. The first one was going great until Haunter came out, stuck a curse on us, and then we had some horrible confusion luck thanks to its Confuse Ray. The second loss was even more stupid due to me using a Fury Cutter on Sneasel and then stupidly sticking with that move against Golbat as it quickly finished us off with wing attacks. So the third time started with Sneasel getting one shot from Strength. The same can be said about Golbat. We could almost say the same again for Typhlosion, but it hangs on and hits us with a Flame Wheel. Still in the green health though, so that's good. Cut finishes it off. Haunter's next, so Fury Cutter, and of course Confuse Ray confused us soon after. Which is horrible for us since we hurt ourselves in our confusion. The damage from that is bad already, but the fact that it also ruins our streak makes things even worse. And even worse than that, we get hit by a critical hit Shadow Ball. We snap out confusion again, after only being confused one turn though. But Fury Cutter is still too weak to finish Haunter off at this turn. But our rival still likes using Mean Look, so this is another free turn for us. But on the next turn, our situation becomes even more dire with Haunter finally using Curse. We do knock Haunter out in the next turn, but we are cutting it really close if a win is even going to happen here. Our rival has a new Kadabra now out, and thankfully Fury Cutter is still staying active, so this guy didn't even stand a chance. That helps some, but Magneton is still going to stall. Or wait, Fury Cutter could still work here. Oh, and look, it does. It doesn't miss, and we have fortunately built up enough power that it delivers more than enough damage for the one shot. Jeez, that was close. I honestly can't tell how we're going to do with Elite Four. Like I said earlier, we have great stats, and we have moves that will do good against sidekicks in Will's team, but we are also weak to sidekick attacks. Zatu could spell our doom if we are not careful. Bruno and Koga could be really easy, but I'm worried about Onyx and Fortress because they might be hard to take down quickly due to their typing. Karen isn't that scary as long as we take care of Houndoom quickly. It's nice that Bug is super effective against dark types, and Lance is a toss-up, but we hit pretty hard physically, so that should carry us pretty far. Let's jump in and see how things really look. Real strong start here with Strength, critical hit, one-shotting the first Zatu. We stick with the same plan for the second one, but this one actually still hangs on, which means we get hit by Sidekick on the next turn. Good news is our special defense is holding up really well. I was surprised that we're still in the green here, but we shouldn't get too comfortable. Will does heal up before we get a chance to take out Zatu with oh, well, okay, Will still healed up, but our next strength landed as a critical hit, so we still get to knock out Zatu on that turn. Jinx is next, and it takes a while to figure out what our next plan of attack should be. Eventually though, I decided that it would probably be best to get the Fury Cutter streak going. First one does a decent amount of damage, but we clearly need to get this move stacking if we want to start one-shotting with it. Jinx is not doing anything in this fight considering it lands a 4-hit double slap and it hardly does anything. So another Fury Cutter takes her out. Oh, and now we are at level 54, which means we can learn the last move on our moveset, Mega Horn. This is a really strong Bug move, and this is the perfect time to get it. But it's hard to figure out what move to give up so we can have it. After some consideration, we give up Fury Cutter. I wanted to get rid of Cut, but the game wouldn't allow it. I know that I was saying we need to keep Fury Cutter going if we want to win, but this move hits really hard and it doesn't require a build-up. It one-shots Executor, but that shouldn't be surprising since the thing is 4 times weak to Bug moves. But this move also makes quick work of Slowbro, so yeah, battling Will became a breeze with our new move. But now we have to fight Koga, and Mega Horn is not going to be effective at all in this battle. The game plan with this one is get back to hitting hard with the other moves in our moveset. Strength does a lot of damage to Ariados, but it's not a one-shot. Things could have been annoying with the double team Ariados just did, but our cut doesn't miss, so down goes Ariados. Starting out with Strength when Venomoth comes out, and it also withstands with just a sliver. This time though, we are subjected to a Supersonic, so now we have Confusion to worry about. But we get a chance to use Cut on the next turn still, so we are taking care of Koga's team while being at full health. Koga knows this, so he decides to send out his ace, Crobat. We need Strength again here, but we waste a turn hurting ourselves in Confusion instead. Crobat uses Double Team, but on the next turn, everything falls into place for us to use Strength that actually hits. Crobat is in the yellow and reciprocates by hitting Herbie with a terrifying wing attack. We really need to hit on the next turn or we are toast. We luckily snap out of Confusion, and Strength is still accurate enough to land for another knockout. Our health is still in a bad spot though, so we need to work fast if we want to see a win for this battle. Fortress is next out for Koga, and this was another threat Koga had on his team for us. This thing is a defensive tank, and we don't have a fire move to remove him from battle quickly. Fortunately for us though, we have Reversal. It's a super effective move for this matchup, and with our lowered health, this move has some extra firepower. It's doing great work here, but we need to use it again for the feint. Good thing Fortress wasted a turn by using spikes on this turn. We easily finished this exchange, and now we just have to focus on Muck for the win. Reversal is still a solid choice here, and Koga is still wasting turns, not attacking. This time it's minimized, which, just like a lot of these setup moves Koga used in this battle, falls short in doing its job, as our fallen attack still lands, sealing us another win. We are moving through the Elite Four pretty easily in this challenge. Bruno is probably the easiest portion of this series, so let's get going on getting this win so we can focus more on Karen and Lance. Yeah, this battle doesn't have much to report. 2 strengths are needed to bring down Hitmontop, while only 1 strength is needed to bring down the other 2 Hitmons. Machamp was also one shot, but that was also because of a crit. When it came to Onyx, I decided to start the exchange with Cut since I knew it wasn't going to do much. That way Onyx could most likely deal some damage so our Reversal could hit harder. Of course, Onyx kind of wasted his turn by setting up a Sandstorm. Next turn we hit a little bit harder with Strength, and Onyx retaliates with Rock Slide. We keep this going for another turn before finally switching to Reversal to win the battle. Okay, moving on to Karen. Her whole team is weak to Bug moves, but at the same time, if we're not careful, Houndoom can spell our end. Let's see how things really stack up. Now we all know that Umbreon is defensively tanky, but Megahorn should end this exchange quickly, if it doesn't miss. Umbreon then does a sand attack, and our next attempt at Megahorn lands as the expected one-shot. You know, statistically, that is not how things were supposed to go, but we will take it. Vileplume is next, and Megahorn is still the way to go. Another Pokemon down, and now we face Gengar. We have to use Megahorn here, we don't really have a choice. Wish it did more damage here since Gengar just used Curse. Well, never mind. Gengar was quite literally at half health, so it went down from its Curse anyway. 2 Pokemon left, but we are on a timer if we want victory from this battle. Murkrow is easy to take care of though, thanks to Strength, but that just means we have Houndoom left to deal with. I almost thought Strength might actually pull a one-shot, but no. Houndoom just has a little bit of health left. Flamethrower hits hard like we expected, but we are still in the yellow. Can't survive another one of those though. Karen uses a max potion, but that really didn't make much of a difference thanks to Reversal. Our low health, plus Houndoom being extra susceptible to fighting moves, made this attack the ultimate finishing move to get past the Elite Four. All we have left here is Lance, and this is going to center on our attack power more than anything, so let's give it a go. Okay, I deserve this. We have had so many easy battles in this challenge, and luck has kind of been on our side more often than not in this run as well. We were due to have a real challenge come along and humble us. We got the loss here, and it all centered around the fact that I forgot a common truth when it comes to Lance's team. He says that he's the Dragon Master, but if you look at his team, only half of his team is actually Dragon type. The one type that exists throughout his whole team is Flying type, and what is Herbie's biggest weakness? That's right, Flying type. And I knew this. I've mentioned Lance's love for Flying types multiple times in my other Generation 2 runs before, but in this challenge, when it couldn't be more important to focus on this information, I came into the battle underprepared, and Herbie paid the price. Where we currently stand, Gyarados is not a problem. REDyTay can be a major problem, and it easily beats us up, and if we survive him, Charizard immediately destroys us. Well, we knew grinding was going to have to happen again at some point. I mean, this is a Pokemon challenge. I guess what we really need to figure out is at what level are we ready to beat Lance? Well, we're losing to him right now at level 56, which is kind of a testament to Heracross because we got through the Elite Four at this low of a level. I mean, we are making it halfway through Lance's team being at a similar level as them. But we are going to need to be much higher if we want to actually win this. Things do improve revisiting the battle at level 64. I mean, we're still losing the battle when it comes to facing Charizard, but we are also getting closer to beating it, and that does show we are close to breakthrough. Or another Ms. Hurdle with the 3 Dragonites. Speaking of which, in one of these attempts we make it to one of them. Yeah, Lance sent out the one that knows Fire Blast, so how do you think that went? Or grinding it is. We need a big boost when it comes to defense and a little more attack power, and I think we got this. Okay, back at it, and this time we are at level 71. Gyarados is even less of a threat now, thanks to it not being able to handle 1 strength from us. REDyTay can still handle that move though, which puts us in a dangerous situation since it has the opportunity to take a lot of our health away with Wing Attack. We are still in the green, but we can't take a lot of hits like that. But for now, we take REDyTay out of the picture with another strength, which means Charizard, and we are really starting to see the fruits of our labor. At this level, our strength is strong enough to one-shot Charizard, and that is without the help of a crit. That's what we like to see from a grind. Lance resorts to sending out the Dragonite that knows Fire Blast next. We are faster than it, and strength is still a solid choice from us here. I'm surprised Lance uses Outrage here instead of Fire Blast, but I'm going to take it. Sure, we are in yellow health now, but that beats fainting on this turn, obviously. Besides, now we can use another strength to knock this Dragonite out. The biggest one of the 3 is now gone, but that doesn't mean the other 2 can't mess us up. The good news is the second Dragonite Thunder Wave misses, so we have an easy time taking it out in the next turn. And now it's time for the last Dragonite and the last Pokemon for Lance. This one survives strength, but with less health than the other 2 Dragonites. Its Thunder Wave does land though, so this could be interesting. And we are slower now, so here comes the Hyper Beam. I'm so thankful for our defense stat at this level. We're still in the yellow and able to attack on the next turn, which means Lance goes down and we are the new Pokemon champions. Just like a lot of these battles we have had previously, we did have a little luck on our side there, but we still had to grind for that win, and it was nice to have somewhat of a challenge to talk about when it comes to the Elite Four. I was expecting some of these battles to go easy, but wasn't expecting Lance to be the one that gave us all the trouble. We still have the Kanto post game to deal with, but considering how well we went through the Elite Four, how much we had to level up to beat Lance, and the fact that most of these gym leaders in this part of the game are at a lower level than the Elite Four, this part should be really easy to progress in. While we are beating all of these gyms, I do get leftovers in Celadon like I do in all of these Gen 2 runs. We might not need the extra healing in these current battles, but when it comes to Red, it might be essential. But before talking about that battle, we have to battle Blue, which is the only gym battle worth talking about in this post game. Pidgeot is first for Blue, and it takes a while for the health bar to go down, but strength does enough to become a one-shot. Blue's biggest threat is Vincent out. Arcanine is slower than us, but it can't survive our strength. Barely though, but we handle Flamethrower really well. I know we are 22 levels higher than it, and our special defense is pretty good, but still. I plan to have Cut be the finishing blow for Arcanine, but Blue goes for a full heal up. Cut still does a decent job considering Arcanine is now in yellow health, so we stick with that move again for the knockout. Alakazam is next, but Mega Horn ends this exchange quickly. Gyarados falls after that, and strength looks like it might fall a little short and be another one shot, but it actually seals the deal as a critical hit. Executor's next, but this thing is actually worse at bug moves than Alakazam, which means Mega Horn is the way to go here. Which means we just have Rhydon left. If you were paying attention, you probably noticed that Leftovers has also healed us back to full health. Despite that, I go for a reversal against Rhydon, which means I shouldn't be surprised that Rhydon is still in green health after our attack. It sets up a Sandstorm, which is a little bit of a wasted move since our Leftovers can sorta negate that effect. Another reversal almost causes a feint, but Rhydon is still standing with just a sliver of health left. Rhydon's critical hit Rock Slide doesn't really do anything, and since Blue doesn't heal up on the next turn, we win the last gym battle of the game with one more cut. Okay, now it's time to face Red. I don't think we can win this battle at this level. I mean, don't get me wrong, our stats are great, but the fact that we are around the level of his opening Pikachu, and we have to face 5 more Pokemon around this level with just one Heracross means that this is a pretty tough situation. And I think Charizard is going to decimate us until we get to a higher level. All that being said, we should see how well we do at this current level so we can really gauge how things look. So let's get into it. So like I said, we have Pikachu first. We are both a level 81, but we are faster and Pikachu can't handle one strength from us, so yeah. I hope this shows how weak the frontman of this franchise really is. Now I wasn't expecting Red to send Venusaur next. That seems a bit random. I was almost going to do Mega Horn for the first move here, but then I remembered that technically Venusaur will resist that move instead of being extra susceptible to it. So sticking with strength again. Venusaur can withstand that move too, but since its response was setting up a Solar Beam, we use another strength for the knock. Crap, it's still standing with a tiny piece of red left. Well, Solar Beam was never going to do much to us anyway, but we need to lose as little health as possible because we cannot give Charizard any help in taking us out, all because we're at lower health when Red sends him out. Yeah, I might be sounding a little paranoid here. Red is smart in not healing up Venusaur because it can't really do anything to us here, so we take Venusaur out with Cut on the next turn. Okay, now Red sends out Charizard. Let's see how it attacks us. I'm kind of surprised we are faster than it, but the real good news here is that this thing handled strength worse than Venusaur did. Now we just have to withstand Wing Attack. Yikes, we are down to 124 health. Well, actually 141 after Leftovers heals us. I'm happy that we stayed in yellow health after that attack, but that is still a hollow victory since that means we will easily go down on the next turn. But like I said, Charizard is also in yellow, and since we are faster, we get another strength to land, which means the biggest threat of this battle is now gone. We still have a little ways to go before we can call this a win though. Espeon is next though, and this is the exact opposite of a threat. Mega Horn all the way, and we move on to Snorlax. Now, we have healed up into the green thanks to Leftovers over the past few turns, so it's hard to gauge how hard Reversal will hit, but it is easily the best move we got thanks to it being a stab fighting move. We give it a shot, and it ticks Snorlax's health bar very slowly, and it does a really good job. Snorlax is really tanky. We never take this guy out quickly, and we are in a good spot health-wise, so we shouldn't be surprised if Reversal is not at its optimal attack power. Besides, Red wastes his turn by doing possibly the stupidest thing I have seen in this entire challenge. He had Snorlax use Amnesia. Herbie is a 100% physical attacker. What are you trying to protect yourself from? We attack on the next turn with our physical attack reversal, and we still can't say we've one-shot Red Snorlax in a challenge, but knocking the big guy out in 2 turns is still really good. Okay Blastoise, you're up. This thing is tanky too, but not as much as Snorlax. Reversal is neutral to Blastoise, and since Leftovers is improving our health each turn, I go back to using Strength. Damage output isn't really great though, considering Blastoise is still standing in the green. It does a Rain Dance, which is neither here nor there, so we are sticking with Strength. Blastoise is in the red, so it might actually happen. Okay, we fall into yellow health from Surf. We heal back up to green thanks again to Leftovers, and as long as red doesn't heal up, we are going to win this. And he doesn't. Blastoise goes down and we actually won. We actually won on the first try. Have we ever done that before? Oh, holy crap. Now, I know that I've had other challenges in the past that I said I don't really know if I would call them a challenge. Those videos are the ones I put a question mark after the word challenge in the title. But this one was the least challenging challenge we have ever done for this channel. I didn't really know what to expect when it came to Heracross. I thought since it was a one-stage Pokemon that it would be middle of the road when it came to performance, and its moveset supported that notion. But stats, oh, the stats proved me wrong and I should have respected those numbers more. I know we were fortunate in having certain things go our way when we needed it most, but for the most part Heracross carried and proved that it is a very solid Pokemon that belongs on your Gen 2 team. I hope you enjoyed this challenge, despite it being on the shorter side. For my next challenge, I'm going to do, looking at my folders of challenges I still haven't done yet, and yeah, let's go with trying to beat Pokemon Sapphire with only Carvanha. I've been wanting to do this one for a while. I'm also in the process of playing Pokemon Yellow to commemorate its 25th anniversary release in the United States. I'm actually working on the script and audio for episode 7 of that series while I'm working on this video's script and audio as well. If you want, check that out and maybe share what that game means to you in the comments. In the meantime, feel free to check out some of my other challenges, and don't forget to like and subscribe for updates and leave comments about what you enjoyed, what challenges you'd like to see in the future, and any suggestions for improving these videos. I always appreciate creative input. Thanks for watching everybody, and until next time, Geronimo.